now we're specifically talking about when your vocals are shut down. I'm going to bring in my top 10 sabotage list that I did maybe like 15 years ago, something like that. It was in my first book, The Fit Solution, that has been opened so many times. And I wanted to understand, since I don't have like, a psychology background, but, I've been coaching for a while, but it got me to start thinking about in this list about what are the things that we start saying to ourselves, but it's inside our head, or we're doing these actions we're doing and how they show up. And I've been using this top 10 sabotage list that steals and robs your cash flow, robs, you as a person. That's kind of like what I called it. I have to figure out the name when we open it up. We'll be able to see the exact name. So if we keep looking at how we show up so that we can start seeing our patterns, it's like one of the best ways to start the week, because then you can be fresh in what you're looking for. And that's what the Rhonda Lou Moxy Show is finding why you're not stepping in deeper, because you have moments, if I see this accurately, you have moments where you're just nailing it. Everything is flowing. You know that you're going to get to that point, whatever you want to get to. And then when you start working that point where you're going to, you realize that you want to do something else, or that your mind goes somewhere else. So you forgot what your bigger picture was. And you start getting back into that limited mindset that we all get into. This show is about how can we open ourselves up and live a vibrant, focused, energetic, on point, in alignment lifestyle with relationships, running business exactly the way that you want to, empower. A couple of weeks ago, I started looking at like, what is the main thing that I am doing out there with podcasting and doing these shows? Why is it important to me? Why have I been doing this for, I've been doing this for 7 years. Why am I doing that? I started making those hard questions become more focused. Like when you use a lens and you're focusing in and you're like just, or like you're just like working it. It's just all pliable and you're just working and working it. That's what I feel like I've been doing. So if we keep our vocals open, that gives us an opportunity, all of us, to be out there creating changes for people. And that empowers our business and empowers people to do work with us. When we start doing that, then we get to grow sustainability. This morning when I woke up, I'll tell you a story. I started thinking right away about these people that I've known in the industry for years, looking at myself too, and knowing that we're all growing, and I'm having a fun time watching all these people I've known for like 15 years, 10 years, 7 years, or whatever, but people that I've known, and they're just nailing it. If you're feeling good and your vocals are open and you're expressing yourself and you feel like your flow is happening, something special really happens when you look at somebody nailing it. You go, oh my gosh, they're nailing it. I can't wait to do that. Oh my gosh, what are they doing? This is so cool. Oh, it's something close to what I do. Okay, I need to get in there. I need to go deeper in the stuff that I do, because I think the stuff they're doing is really cool, which means you're getting dialed in. If your vocals are down, though, where you haven't really been expressing yourself, giving yourself like really heart-centered, quiet space so that your mind can clear. An example is if you keep going, then you can't really get connected with what you're really feeling, because you're going to be in your cycles over and over and over. You're going to really believe everything that your brain is saying to you. But if you could see that your brain, another side note here, you can see that your brain is cycles based on year over year getting older and older through your timeline, that it's imprints that are being connected since you were a child. And that's where you say, these are my beliefs. This is what I believe. This is what makes me sad. This is what makes me happy. But when you start getting into your quiet space, you start really seeing yourself, your alignment, what you're asking for. And so the old patterns of how you were raised, what people said, you get to make those decisions in a different way. You get to change and you get to feel comfortable feeling raw with these changes. Maybe not everybody agreeing with you, but when you get in that state where you get into more purpose, because you can feel it, that your cycles aren't shutting you down in your brain that go over and over, because 90% of what we say is known to say over and over and over in our mind. And sometimes, if you don't slow down, you'll just keep in your cycles. And the other day, somebody said something so funny. They were saying, I'm so tired of listening to my brain. Like it's not helping me because I'm telling everybody I'm happy, but I'm not. And I recognize that by watching, our coaching videos, because I record our coaching videos. And I'm realizing on the outside, I'm saying this, but the last minutes of our time spent together, all of a sudden, I'm just saying all these things that aren't working. And those things really are the truth. So I'm frustrated with myself. And so this is, what clients say quite a bit. I recognize it in myself too, because I've been in the industry working this stuff, through the mindset. So I really want to share the top 10 sabotage list. So let's do that. My name is Rhonda Liebig, but in this show, I'm Rhonda Lou Moxy. This is about being tenacious, excited for the day, finding vibrant space here. Moxy. Let's get your Moxy on today. Let's get you tenacious. Let's clear your top 10 sabotage list. And not all of them you're going to agree with. You're like, I don't have a problem with that. But so I'll give you examples. And then I'll hone in on one as we're going to finish the show. So if you have any questions, I'm going to have you come in and ask anything you want. Have you used my top 10 sabotage list? Have you been at the Fresh Inspiration Ranch where I have gatherings here? It's been a bit, but it's fun having you here who's come here, because we get to play and frolic in on the acreage that I have here. It's 5 acres, but it just feels fun when I have people here sharing what I get to do every day. We use this list, the top 10 sabotage list. This helps us get into our mind and start really creating something so profound in our life. And so the tools I'm bringing you in as like a mentor, a coach, is from working with hundreds of speakers and getting them in alignment, making sure that they are doing what they need to do for themselves in their alignment, that they show up the way they want to. From coaching people, from helping people feel in their limited space, to bubbling it up to feeling open and soaring for the day, and hopefully moving forward. And I'm always noticing people make these great shifts. And I know how it feels. It feels so raw and vulnerable to make these changes. And sometimes you don't even think you're making these changes because all you can see is what's not working. Sometimes we have these big breakthroughs and we don't really remember them the next day because it's so overwhelming and the gap is so big from where we want to go to where we are. The Rhonda Lou Moxy Show is like, let's see ourselves here and now where we are. Let's look at that quantum leap, something that pushes us so big that we don't stop ourselves. We just keep moving forward. We just keep letting it be. That's Oliver, my doggy. He's like, oh, this is so good. When he was younger, he used to start barking. I couldn't have him in here. He'd just be barking because he'd be so excited. As soon as I got excited, he was like, woohoo, just starting to bark. But he is my business partner. You can't even see him. But he's under there somewhere under the table. So take a breath in. And we have about 15 minutes left with each other. What is it that you want with everything? Everything tethers together. Where do you feel like you want those changes? Are you tired, sick and tired of being tired, of hearing the same things in your head, of doing the same thing over and over, of things not working? The things that are really important to me, I call hashtag speaker locking arms. That we're together holding space to transform and up level this world in a way that we get to partner and motivate and get people conscious of what they are subconsciously doing. That's what us motivators do, and teachers and all that kind of stuff. So you'll see that in the shows that I do too. But it's about stopping the blaming and the shaming. So when you think about this, when you're looking at that's my global view, but I do have a humanity project. And that humanity project is linked with all of this. What is the thing that you authentically want, that you really want to break through? Bring that to the forefront. Get your journal and your pen. Because the stuff that you're going to claim right now, you may forget in an hour if it's something really big. And even if it's small, because those incremental marks is what makes an explosive change in life. Let me share my screen. I'll show with you. Oh, readability. Let's see. Okay. So this is what the name of it is. This is what I was questioning when I first started. Like, what's the exact name? So 10 sabotages that rob your vitality, cash, and wellness. Now, this is where I clearly believe that we are going to be able to quantum leap. And I'm going to share the screen for a moment here. And we're going to, number one is I can't. I am always late. I am old, and that's why I have aches and pains. So this is your health and wellness, but you can say, I'm not able to do stuff because I'm too old. I'm too old to start something new. Oh, that's number 4 there. Number 5, I'm tired all of the time. Number 6, everyone interrupts me. Oh, goodness. Where are you not showing up for yourself? I love that. I spend too much time watching TV, social media, eating food, and not sleeping. 8, comparing yourself to others. We talked about that already at the beginning. Stuck in my story. And that's the cycles in the brain that just keep going over and over. Where am I stuck in my story? 10, work on one task until the end and not getting to the other projects. That last one is really important. Really, really important. Because let's stay at that one. The one where you stay focused in on one task and you won't do anything else until that task is done. Now, sometimes there's a purpose for that. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about when you are working on a big project and you know, okay, I'm going to work on it a little bit now and then a little bit later. And then, and you have it kind of broken down. But you get into the project and all of a sudden there's this cycle of not letting it go. You can't let it go. You're going to keep working and you might even have to pee. And you're like, I'm not even going to stop and pee. I need to work on it right now. And this is what somebody said to me one time, and it really caught me because all these skills that I have is based on people calling me out on stuff or coaching and watching, how people interact and with how they work in mindset stuff. So the person asked, well, what's coming up for you? Why are you not stopping your task? And I'm like, because I want to get it done. They said, well, no, but what about that? You know you're going to get it done. You already have an idea of what you're going to do. You know that you're not going to spend all day on it, but somehow you end up spending all day on it and never let it go. So let that sink in for yourself a moment and think about that. Have you been on a project before and you wouldn't let it go, even though it's a project and it's big, and you could do chunks of it, but you just keep trying and working on it, and everything that you thought you were going to get done for the day, you just push off to the side because you get so honed in and focused in on this one thing. That's the number 10 of the top 10 sabotages that rob you of so many things, of getting stuff done that you need to get done because you have a bigger project. So if you've gotten lost in a bigger project and you won't let it go, and you won't follow the protocol that you already set up, that you're going to do it in chunks. So breathe that in. So this is what this person was sharing with me. They said, well, what about that? Why have you not stopped and gone on to the next thing? Like, what is it that you're feeling that might be limited to what you believe about yourself? And then all of a sudden, it was a good question. I started recognizing that I was telling myself I wasn't smart, that, almost like you're dumb, like that kind of thing when I was dealing with that years ago. And subconsciously, it could still be showing up. Because why am I doing that? Because I'm not getting all my other stuff done. I'm behind, but I'm working on this big project and I won't let it go. And I stay focused and I won't leave. And it's the insecurity and the trust for myself that I'll come back and finish it. Believing in myself that I'm in the zone right now. And if I'm in the zone right now, then I won't be able to get back in that zone. And that's how I answered the person. I thought I was like, yeah, I'm going to answer this right because, there's a right and wrong, when you're in that kind of ego sense. And so I want you to think about this. First off, that there is no right or wrong when it comes to working on things. But if you take a step back, you'll be able to get answers of what you really want the answer for. So if I do that project all day long and I forget the other two things that I want to do, they're going to help move things forward, or finish a project that I didn't finish the day before, like even writing to the my newsletter. And so I'm not taking time to do any of those things. I'm staying on my bigger project. Now I'm not trusting myself. That cycle is going to keep going over and over, and it's going to be hard to break that. The trust comes in when I say I'm going to do something, that I do it. And boy, does that show up in many ways in your life. Because I go, here, wait, I said I was going to go do this. Like do the dishes or do the floor or go pet Oliver, things like that. And you didn't, so I don't trust you. So you have to allow your brain to kind of play with this a bit and bring your heart in. Allow your heart to powerfully hold up space for you in this situation. That just because you say something doesn't mean it has to be done. But your brain, you want to really speak to this situation of, okay, I didn't finish my project, or I didn't pet Oliver because of this. But I want to now. I'm going to stop everything and I'm just going to go pet Oliver. I didn't finish this project because of this. I needed to work on these other things, or something urgent came up. And that's why I didn't finish this project. And these conversations are really important to have, because we want to build the trust within ourselves, the love and the respect. And the way that it'll show up is these ways where you'll keep working on a project and you won't stop. But let me tell you something personal that can happen. If you don't believe in yourself, let's just say there's some trust factor there, and somebody in your sphere does something to you where they'll consistently be on you. Well, you said you were going to do this. You said you were going to do that. And you'll say, I didn't do that. You'll give an explanation, but I'll make sure I have it on my agenda to do. And you'll give them more vocals. And I'll make sure I have it. I'm gonna get back in there. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. I'm looking at 8:00, and it just deserves a conversation. But if somebody does that to you and you're not feeling in alignment, you don't feel the trust within yourself, all of a sudden it's going to shame you. And, we're into let's stop the shaming and blaming, but it'll shame you. And it may even start a fight because somebody called you out on something because you didn't feel good about your trust factor. You're like, yeah, good, you called me out because I know you can't really trust me. I don't really trust myself. And this whole weird, without saying words, just start the interaction back and forth starts happening where that person holds you accountable, but it's an accountability that's not in alignment. Because when you said you were going to do something, you ended up doing something else, and you put it on your agenda to do, or they reminded you, and you're going to do it the next day. Then you can have a better conversation instead of shutting your vocals down. And you see, when your vocals are shut down, you don't have a lot of words. to say to somebody because you're already naysaying yourself. You're stopping yourself from being clear and free how you would answer something like that. Because you're like, yep, right. I need to get called out on that. But the truth is, if we could live in this world cohesively with all our relationships and people who don't believe in us, people that are not part of um, our life, but they see you in social media and they say stuff. But all of this energy, if you could calm it down by calling yourself out on things and knowing that you're the bigger picture of opening your vocals so that you can open the space to share with people what your global vision is. Share with people why you didn't show up and do something specific that somebody thought that you were going to do. Because then you can call yourself out on yourself and not feel shamed, because shame shuts everybody down. It's not okay to wear that terrible feeling. It really isn't, because in this world, when you are holding yourself accountable, nobody else has to hold you accountable. And some people may be used to holding you accountable because in the past, you were just trying to duck anything that you didn't do because you were concerned about what anybody would say. When they said something, it would scare you. But when you level up and you start opening your vocals and sharing with them more about what's on your mind, why you're doing certain things, then it'll keep you more productive. It will help people understand you more. You'll start loving on yourself more. It'll be so easy to appreciate yourself way more. Does that make sense? Because it can interact with your relationships. It can interact with your business, stop things from moving forward. Because any time that you feel shaming or blaming within yourself, which we want to stop and help the world for my global vision of stopping the blaming and shaming, hashtag speaker locking arms. We have 62,000 views on that. And I want you to think about that. What's your global vision? We want to open up your vocals so you really show up for you. What do you need? Write in your journal. And let's hold that space as we take a breath in. Just let this process. Today it was about opening your vocals. And when your vocals aren't open, what shows up? Somebody who feels small or small or small, but not wide open. And wide open gives you the opportunity, all of us, the opportunity to really show up. And if we keep showing up, then there's big changes happening out there in the world. Nobody can stop us. Sometimes people that you love, they need to know what your walls are and what they can say and what they need to do to grow in to be with you. And then you get to learn how you want to grow and meet with people and how you want to build your walls to be able to share with people as you're painting and learning. This is what I'm feeling. What are you feeling? I'm curious about what you're feeling. Let's take a breath in, let everything process. From the belly, open up, shake it out a bit in the hips, bring it down to the feet, let it loosen up, let the hands just go for it. Roll the shoulders back. Notice where you were when we first started. If you keep opening your vocals and learning how to do that, it's easy to be shut down. So anytime that you say, oh, I rolled over and I didn't say anything, that is you shutting yourself down. Vibrates. I was on thyroid medicine for years. It vibrates in your vocals because you want to say something, and you don't. Or when you say, oh, they're so lucky that I didn't say this to them, or else I would have told them off, and you go down that route. Or that you literally just don't say anything and you go, oh, poor me. Or you don't say anything and you're just like, oh, bah! The person that's next to you, that's very close to you, They truly can feel that when you're upset. And I recognized that when people would say, "What was wrong yesterday? Are you okay?" Or they would call and say, "Hey, are you okay?" And I was like, "Well, how would they know anything? I just was stoic like I always am and not saying anything about it. So why would they even know that? Like, yeah, yeah, I'm fine." Like that. And then you start recognizing that you intuitively want to show up in full truth. Because if you do, life is magical. You get to show up however you want. You get to strive and make any changes that you want. You get to have everything you want because you're going to get in alignment and you're going to be able to feel that. Feel what that alignment is. You'll know what it is. So you'll be asking for the biggest things that are really important to you. You'll start manifesting, creating bigger creative projects with people. And oh, there's just so much. So when you're ready, exhale. Feel it in your body. Feel how you're doing today. I appreciate you. This is the Rhonda Lou Moxy Show. We are here. I am here to host you, entertain you, but get you dialed in. My main focus is to hashtag speaker locking arms, really open up the vocals. Let's stop the blaming and shaming out there, everyone. With our 62,000 views, let's keep revving up hashtag speaker locking arms. Let's keep opening our vocals so that we stand strong. We stand strong. We work together as a community. The more that you evolve, the more I am evolving, the more we keep creating this. This is our superpower. I love you and appreciate you. Mwah. Namaste.